All right, welcome to the stream. In this video, I'm Brian Maxwell, and I'm going to be talking about what the secret is, that secret sauce, what that secret sauce is, what that secret science is to being able to convert more sales. And let's just face it, the whole growth. So at the end of the day, all of us that are involved in the sales profession, working at dealerships, we're all in it for the same thing. Everybody's in it because they want to make money. So in this video, on this stream, what I'm going to be doing is talking about what is that secret sauce? What is that secret? What is that science to converting more sales and holding more growth? Because at the end of the day, y'all know it. If you work at a dealership right now, how many deals have you done when a dealership is happy because, yeah, you got a deal, the store got a unit moved, but you didn't make hardly any money. You got that washout sheet and you saw that you made a mini, or you thought this was going to be a $500 or $1,000 or a 2-pounder that you was going to get it, and come to find out, everything had to be given away. So we're going to talk about that. So number one, and also I'm giving it a second for people to jump on, because there's three type of people that jump on streams like this. Number one, you have those that are going to expect that if they don't hear the secret abracadabra word that's going to convert more sales, they're jumping off the video going on to something else. Then you got the next group of people that if they see they may have to sit and listen and watch for more than 2 or 3 minutes, they're incapable mentally of being able to sustain their attention for that long, they'll be off the video off the stream. And then we got the third group. And that third group of people are the ones that I'm waiting on to get on here. Those are the ones that fully understand in this world, there is no such thing as getting something for nothing. That get rich quick does not fucking work. And that at the end of the day, everybody and their mama believe that they can find some way to bypass some step to be able to put themselves in a successful situation. And men, women, folks, people, let me explain something to you. It doesn't work that way. So let's jump into the sales side of what the secret is to closing the sale. You ready for this? I'm going to give it to you. There is no secret science and there is no secret sauce. But what I am going to do is I'm going to lay out some of the simple and small things that majority of people miss. And then they wonder, how did this happen? The automotive sales industry, it's so hard and people can't make money in it, yada, yada. And that's bullshit. Do you know, at the end of the day, that the automotive sales in position is one of the higher paying sales positions nationwide? Folks come in and they working at a regular 9-to-5 job and they say, man, I want to make some more money. I want to put my kids in this private school. I want to be able to move into this house. I want to get this car. And then they're put into an environment. Now, granted, one thing I will tell you, most dealerships do a horrible job on training their staff and having them prepared. I'm going to be straight like that with it. They do. But as professionals, as adults, one thing that you have to take on mentally is that if an organization has brought you in, they've got millions of dollars worth of inventory available for you to be able to promote, to be able to service and to sell. They run advertisements, meaning they have commercials going. They have online things running. They have radio ads running to drive people into you. They give you a workstation. They give you a computer. They give you a CRM system. They give you access to every tool you will need to go capitalize. And what happens is people say, but you know what, man, nobody ever sat me down and taught me this. Granted, tis, shame on them, but at the same time, shame on us. Because that'd be like me coming to your house because you said you were hungry, filling up your fridge, filling up your cabinets, and you texting or calling me later that night saying you're hungry. And I say, dude, listen, I gave you a full refrigerator worth of food, filled up your cabinets. What's the deal? And you say, yeah, man, but I didn't feel like going in there and making it. So is it that you're hungry, or is it that you're not hungry enough to get up and go out there and do something? And for most people, that's really what their day-to-day is at the dealership, okay? Yeah, they're struggling and they're in pain, but the pain isn't grave enough to really motivate them to get out and go do something. So on this stream, we're going to talk about the secrets to closing the sale. Number one, the one biggest thing that I see that happens that people miss out on when they're engaging with customers, they fail to realize this. From the moment that you're approaching that individual, y'all are locking eyes. Please know they are doing everything within their power mentally to disqualify you. They're looking at your clothes. They're looking at how you groomed. Are you shaved up? Do you look like you're somebody that takes pride in their appearance? Or do you look like somebody that just rolled out of bed and just showed up just to show up? Everything from your shoes to do you have a smile on your face? Do you seem pleasant? They're looking for every reason to disqualify you. Now, you know, there's that uncomfortable moment when the two parties are going to meet for the first time. And you and I both know we only get one chance to make a first impression at the end of the day. So that impression has to be dynamic. That impression has to be memorable. That impression has to be impactful without being over the top. Okay? And that's just a simple, hey, welcome to ABC Dealership. My name is Brian and you are. Okay, so that's all stuff, elementary stuff that you should know about. But let's get down to when it's time to actually close the deal. Why is it that so many folks struggle when it gets down to presenting numbers and, you know, waiting for your customer to respond? Most people struggle with that due to lack of preparation. Here's what I mean. One thing you should know whenever you're engaging with any of your customers, there's really only 5 objections, 5 issues, 5 that can come up. The price is too high. They want more for their trade. They want to shop around. They like to speak to their spouse. Okay? And they want to think about it. Those are the 5. And anything else that comes under that is what I call a subcategory. Okay? Now, in the subcategories, these are where they might roll out other excuses that, you know, really are masking what the real issue is. And what the real issue is, somewhere along the way, we have failed to be able to bridge the gap between the need that they have and the solution that we have. And the better we are at putting that together and really articulating that for our guests, the better we'll be. So how do we go through that? What is the real secret to being able to close more sales? Number 1 lies in your ability to ask questions. Okay? The type of questions that you ask, the type of questions that you use, the type of questions that you have sequenced out play a huge part, a humongous part in whether or not you will be able to help that guest, again, bridge the gap between the problem that they're having and the solution that you have. And what I find is that majority of sales professionals, and if you're in sales at the dealership, you got to ask yourself this. Do you have a sequence of questions that you have either memorized or that you have on a sheet of paper that is in front of you or posted up on your cubicle or in your workstation on your desk? See, what most people do is they use the guest information sheet, if your dealership even has one of those. They use the guest information sheet, okay? And on that guest information sheet, you know, it asks questions, vehicle-related questions, some things about their address, what brought them in, how did they find out, yada, yada, yada. But what that information sheet lacks and what it does not have is the personal aspect, the personal questions. And please understand something. People don't care how much we know until they know how much we care. I'll repeat that. People don't care how much we know until they know how much we care. And how do we prove how much we care about a person? By asking them questions about themselves. Most salespeople make it like it's an interrogation, and they're solely going off that sheet. You make a model, blah, blah, blah. What's going on? But at the same time, we're asking all of that vehicle information. We got all of that. We know their name and stuff like that. But you know what? We have no idea about what really is making them tick. What brought them in? What is their motivation? What is the goal that they're trying to accomplish? Are they trying to solve a problem? Or are they trying to achieve a goal? And this is only obtained. You can only get this information through asking not just questions, but what's called layered questions. And let me give you an example. A layered question will be a person comes in, because you come in, you go to the greeting, you say, all right, folks, are you looking for something that's new or pre-owned? Now, regardless of what they said, they say, I'm looking for something new. Awesome. Is this for business or personal use? Now, let's just say we say, are you looking for something new or pre-owned? Oh, I'm sorry, looking for something pre-owned. Okay, awesome. Is this for business or personal use? So as you see, regardless of the answer, we can roll right into the next question. So is it for business or personal use? Oh, it's for business. Really? So it's going to be your daily driver, even as you use to and from your place of business? Well, yeah, awesome. Is this for business or personal use? Personal use. Okay, so it's going to be your daily driver that you use to get to and from your place of business? Yeah. So as you see, from those layered questions, I was able to ask a question that led me into another question, regardless of the answer they gave. And see, these are the type of layered questions that you want to use. These are ones that regardless if the customer is 17 or 7D, you can leverage these. Because let's just face it, y'all. When you come into a dealership and nobody has educated you the right way, nobody has really prepared you and they just throw you out, even if you're the most polite person in the world, you're going to do what you think is the best thing to do. A lot of times we'll do what we think we would want somebody to do for us. And guess what? At the end of the day, people are different. And what motivates you may not motivate me. What motivates me may not motivate them. But when we have a set of questions that aren't so personal or personality specific, it allows us to be able to create that process, that roadmap or that stream to take us from point A to point Z. See, at the end of the day, the reason why so many people struggle in this business and they had another job and they say, man, I want to make more money, I want to make more money. And then they get to the dealership and the only thing they feel is that they feel like the dealership made them work too many hours. They feel like they were unappreciated and they don't feel like they made the money that they were supposed to make or that they were hyped up that it was available to make. Let me explain something to you. There are real people that are making $100,000+ a year doing this right now, selling vehicles right now after COVID in 2021. There are people who barely got a GED that are literally making more money than some lawyers and some doctors in their family that are working residency. It's real. I've seen this business literally take a family who was struggling in a 1-bedroom, barely surviving, and make it to where years later, they're living in a 5-bedroom home in a really nice part of town that he only could have dreamed about years prior. Am I saying that it's the only way? No. But if you're somebody who knows you didn't go to college and execute, or maybe you didn't go to college at all, if you're somebody who you don't really feel like you have a tremendous amount of skill sets and a lot of things, but you can communicate and you can listen. If you're somebody who is at the point in your life where you say, you know what, man, I've tried this. I'm sick and tired of walking over dollars to pick up dimes and jumping jobs. Guess what? Because JOB stands for just over broke. So what you have to do is while you're in this business, you really want to take it serious on what you say and how you engage with people because it makes a difference. Okay, so let's continue on. So you want to make sure you have a sequence of questions that you can go through. And some people say, oh, I don't like having things pre-written or I feel scripted. The only reason it feels scripted or sounds robotic is because the individual has not memorized. Think about this. Every movie, whatever your favorite movie is, really think about it for a second. What is one of your favorite movies? Okay, now you thought about it. Now, prior to that movie going into production, in pre-production, guess what's sent out to every single actor and almost everybody working the film? A script is sent out. But yet, we watch this movie, and man, it makes us laugh, it makes us cry, it makes us happy, it makes us sad. But it's fake. It's completely fake. But guess what? They took those words and they internalized them and they memorized them to a point that when they projected them, they personalized it. They took those words and internalized them to a point that when they projected them, they personalized it. So much that even though we know that this movie is fake, it still captivated us emotionally. So when people say they don't like scripts and stuff like that, no, we use scripts. Have you ever been riding in the car and the song comes on that was your jam back in high school? And you're like, oh, this is my shit. And you're like, you ad-libbing, you singing the words better than the person that made it. You ain't heard that song in years. But guess what? You didn't write those words. So guess what that is? That's a script. So what happens is most people don't look at it in the appropriate light. What a script actually does, it helps to keep you on track. It makes it to where you don't have to sit there and be trying to wonder and figure out the next thing to say because it's laid out for you. You know, what's up, Greg? How you doing? Thanks, brother. Now, so check this out. Please peep game on this, okay? So knowing that we'll watch a movie and that the movie can captivate us even though it's completely fake and they had a script. If we can listen to a song in our car that captivated us, it was our jam. We didn't write those words. They were written by somebody else. That is a script. When we can get rid of that whole notion of scripts being somehow a bad thing, watch how your career takes off. See, the goal, the key of a professional is to internalize that script to a point that when they're speaking, you really feel like they're going off the top of the dome. It seems like they're just freestyle. But in actuality, their preparation was at such a high level that they were able to inject their personality into the word track or the script to make it their own. So one thing I encourage you, while you at your dealership, if your managers come to you with a word track or come to you with a script or a talk out, as opposed to saying, oh man, here's another piece of shit, please take time and pay attention to it and actually memorize it and use it. Because there's no way to really see if it works or if it doesn't work. You either have proof of concept because other people have used it and have had success, or you yourself have used it and have had success. It's all about proof of concept. As a matter of fact, if you're going to utilize anybody's word tracks, sales methods, and techniques, one of the things I always suggest is making sure that you rock out with people that when they speak, it resonates with you. When you hear them talking, you say, that makes sense. Because people say, Brian, how do I know who to listen to? You know, I watch your stuff. I watch Andy Elliott. There's a number of other great people. How do I know? I said, you go off with who resonates with you. You go off with who makes you feel like it makes the most sense and that their information is giving you tremendous value. Okay, so let's get back to the script part. So people think it's scripted and robotic because they don't know it. But I assure you, when it comes to these questions and these layered questions, knowing that the guest is looking for a way to disqualify you, you have got to mentally be fully engaged and fully in the game from the moment you greet until it's time to go. Because every little word you say, every facial expression you make, every question you ask, or even ones that you fail to ask, guess what? They're locked in and they are looking to see and or make sure that you are not about to bullshit them and run them through the ring. Okay? So making sure that you have your word track, your questions lined up and ready to go. And let me give you another piece of advice. One of the things that I always suggest to my training classes when I'm at these dealerships around the country, one of the things that I give to all of my folks is they have all of the questions. They have the entire question sequence all laid out for them. But what I ask them to do is to go home, and I'd like for them to take, because I give it to them in digital format and in hard copy. I tell them, go home, and on the digital format, I want you to create spaces up under each one of these questions. Now, the reason why the space is there up under each one of these questions is so they can do what? You're absolutely right. Take notes, okay? So they can take notes. So when the guest is talking, they're writing the notes right there. So instead of feeling like they have to have all of these questions stored in their mental Rolodex, why not take them? If somebody has provided you with them, especially in a Word document, where you can just copy them, paste them over to a new Word document, and leave yourself some space in between. And then you can take notes with your guest. So you can have that sitting right there at your desk on a clipboard, no longer hearing the manager say, you forgot to ask about this, or you didn't ask about that. No, you've got everything ready to go because it's right there. And remember, we're using layered questions. And a layered question, for those of you that came in a little late, missed, a layered question is a question that allows you to build onto another question, regardless of what the guest says. And one of the things that we did it as an example of, a guest comes in, you say, hey, are you looking for something new or pre-owned? I'm looking for something new. Awesome. Is it for business or personal use? So, or if you say looking for something new or pre-owned, I'm looking for something pre-owned. Awesome. Are you looking for something for business or personal use? So it doesn't matter if they say new or pre-owned. We can roll right into great. Are you looking for something for business or personal use? And then for business or personal use, are you looking for something for business or personal use? Business. Really? Awesome. What type of business are you in? What type of work do you do? Are you looking for something for business, personal? Personal? Awesome. So it's going to be your daily driver to and from your place of business? Yeah. Well, what type of work do you do? So as you see, just off those two questions, it allows me to build onto another question regardless of their response. And this is what you call creating a flow. See, the reason why when you initially meet a guest, You want to ask them questions and literally wait for them to respond because it's a volley. It really is a volley. And what that means is you have to condition your guests, put them in the mind frame that when I ask a question, you answer. And see, most salespeople never establish this level of rhythm. They jump right in and without building any type of a rapport. And I know that word rapport is thrown all out. So let me break it down and give it an even more simplistic meaning. Establishing rapport meaning you want to establish some type of a trust level or credibility level with this person. Being that, listen, I'm here to help you out and you're here to receive help. So the only way we can get this done in a timely manner is if we work together. And at the end of the day, I'm here to help you. So help me help you and roll into whatever you have to say or whatever you have to do. But if you have a guest that's unwilling to answer, you immediately have to stop someone and say, hey, listen, Rick, John, Sally, or Mary, or Molly, let me ask you a question because I just want to make sure that I didn't do anything to offend you. Because I'm asking certain questions and I really want to help you. And the only way I can help you is if you help me by sharing a little bit of information with me. So did I do anything to offend you at all? No. Okay, listen. Great. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and the clearer, the more articulate you are at answering them, I'll get you all the information you need. There is nothing wrong with stopping and asking a person, hey, did I offend you in some way? Because a lot of times they may not even know. They're such in defense mode because they're afraid of you that they don't even know that they're acting an ass right now. And so hey, listen, did I do something to offend you? They say, oh, no, why'd you say that? Oh, because, I'm asking certain questions. And typically when I ask people these questions, they typically just roll right off because I want to help them. So, and I want to help you too. So please, can you help me help you? I'm just going to ask you a few questions, and the quicker and more articulate you are at giving me your answer, the quicker I can be at getting you whatever information you feel is important and rolling on. You see, a lot of times it's not what we say either, but how we say it, like Mama used to tell me. Okay? So now you got your questions, and remember what I say. Never, ever, 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 ever sleep on having your sequence of your questions, because dealerships are great of always talking about road to the sale, road to the sale, road to the sale. That's phenomenal and all. But when you give somebody a step in the road to the sale, you never want to just explain the step. You want to explain the psychology behind it and how it benefits the sales rep and the customer. Because too many times in the businesses, in the automotive dealerships, management does a great job of stressing what we want to do for the customer, what we want to do for the customer, what we want to do. And that's great because that is what we're supposed to be focused on. But at the end of the day, wouldn't you agree that the better way for your management to get more involvement, to get more effort out of you, is if they showed you how much more beneficial you would be if you did these certain things to help this person? Of course you would. At the end of the day, it's self-preservation. And so the better, and should I say, the clearer you can see what your pot of gold is, or what your reward is for you going above and beyond, that's more motivating and stimulating for you to go do it and saying, hey, we're going to do it just because it's going to make this person happy and help them save some money, and nothing for us personal, but strictly for them. Now, there are times in life where you're going to do something for somebody and get nothing in return. And you should do that. But in business, this is business. And so, no, we're not doing anything in exchange for nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's just not the way it works. If you want to volunteer and give back, go to the soup kitchen, go to the Ronald McDonald House, where they take care of burn victims, especially children. There's a lot of awesome things that you can do to just give. But you're there because you want to earn a living and provide for your family. So, as unfortunate as it may be, that requires an exchange of goods or services for money or for funds. And the only way that that exchange happens is when the customer sees value in the product or service that exceeds the asking price. I'll repeat that. The only way this exchange of goods or services and for monetary and for money, only way this exchange happens is when the customer sees the value in the product or the services outweighs the actual investment that it takes to get started. Okay? That's how it happens. And so people miss out on the fact of, well, I said this and I did that. No. Did you build value in it to where the value exceeded the asking price? Meaning, if it's a $40,000 vehicle, you do a $55,000 presentation on that bad boy. Oh, yes, you do. Because then they'll say, damn, that seems like a good deal. But if you take a $30,000 vehicle and you do a half-ass $25,000 presentation, guess what? You're screwed and you're stuck like Chuck. So let's get back to it. So you're asking these questions, right? And so when you're asking these layered questions, the better you are with your flow, the better you are with your question, the answers that they give, and sometimes they'll give you answers that will take care of 2, 3, maybe 4 other questions that you had coming up that you were going to ask. But the fact that you're asking these layered questions in an open-end way, it allows that customer to spew out more information about themselves and what they're looking for. And the more information you can get from a guest, yes, it's relevant to know what type of vehicle they're looking for, what they may be trading in, and all of those things are extremely relevant. They are. But who you're sitting in front of, speaking with as an individual, is even more important and is even more valuable, to you being able to help your guests. Meaning, if you don't know what type of goals or objections they have, if you have no idea, is this person single, married, or in a relationship? Do they have children? What type of work they do? Is this going to be used for business? What is it that gives them the confidence that they can afford a vehicle like this? If they can't afford a vehicle like this, do they have something that they're trading in with us, or are they just making an addition to the family? And with all of those things being said, what type of monthly budget are they hoping to stay around? What type of initial investment are they hoping to be around? And why? And so when you gain these things which are more personal, now when you go out and you're doing your demo drive or you're doing your walk around, should I say, with the guests, which is another area where thousands of dollars are left on the table. You guys gotta excuse me, when I get going, I get to sweat a little bit. But thousands of dollars are left on the table during the walk around. You know why? Because while sitting down with this guest, asking all of these questions, gaining all of this intel, now we go out to the vehicle where we can actually take the goal or the pain that this person was going through, and we can show them specifically how this particular feature on this particular vehicle will help you solve this problem. It will help benefit you this way. And as a matter of fact, when we look at this, the side mirror, the turn signal light, and the side mirror. Now, you may be extremely familiar with that and heard that a lot of times, but you never heard it from me. And I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't at least share it with you. Now, on this 2021, blah, 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 as you can see, we got the turn signal lights in the side mirror. Now, back in the day, at one point in time, when they didn't have that, if your rear turn signal lights were out and you didn't know it, and you were getting ready to merge to the right or to the left, and the people to the right or to the left, you didn't know it, and you go to do it, bam, you got a potential accident. And at the end of the day, you got your family members and yourself riding in this vehicle, and you want to make sure everybody makes it home in one piece, right? Right. So what this turn signal light does right here, what it does, it's an additional precautionary tool. It notifies the people to the right or to the left of you, hey, I'm getting ready to make a move, so make sure you guys watch out. Therefore, if your rear turn signal lights are out in the back, these that you have right here in the side mirrors just add extra value for you and extra safety for you and your family. And at the end of the day, making an investment in a nice vehicle like this, you want to make sure you enjoy it as long as you can, right? Right. So what these turn signal lights do, they're just an extra layer, an extra step that blah, blah, blah manufacturer, gives to our customers so they can ride in style, but also be safe. Now, what I just did was I just spoke about a turn signal light, which everybody has seen that, everybody. And I didn't say anything technical in it at all. But you tell me that if a guest heard my explanation or my presentation on that turn signal light versus some of the people that you see at your dealership that were describing, tell me that my shit wouldn't blown theirs out of the water. And they could have been somebody that's super duper technical about it. but tell me that mine wouldn't have blown theirs out of the water. And let me explain to you why. They told me what goals and what they were trying to get accomplished. I pointed out what the feature is, what life is like without it, and how having it actually benefits them. Okay? Now, by me pointing that out and showing that to them, what I just did was gave proof, or should I say, laid out the possibility, the potentiality that the problem that they're having or the concern of safety is significantly reduced, never eliminated, but significantly reduced by these additional safety features right here. That was just an example of how when you're going through a process with the guest to help them buy a vehicle, and people want to know what the secret is to closing, from the moment you greet that person and you lock eyes, you're already in mode of closing. But the steps that you take have their own successes. Like you don't go out and buy a Big Mac or a Whopper and just eat the whole thing in one bite. It takes chunks. It takes bites. And then after a while, guess what? It be gone. And yes, I said it be gone. This is the same exact way. When you greet a person, each step has its own success that has to take place. Meaning when you're greeting somebody, if you're unable to greet them the right way, where they trust you and give you their name, you're never going to get them inside. And if you don't get them inside and sit them down, you're not going to be able to ask them questions to find out what they're looking for. If you don't know what they're looking for, you won't be able to present them with an option. If you don't have an option to present, guess what? There's no demo drive to take. And if there's no demo drive, there's no deal. Okay? So every step has its own success. So when I hear people say, boy, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to close this person, watch them take their ass out there and not close it. Watch. Because they're focused on the wrong thing. You never go approach a customer with the mentality of, I'm going to close this deal. You should approach them and say, I want to see just how much information I can get out of this person to determine if I can help them. Because guess what? You just might not be able to. And that's okay. But the only way we know is by asking questions. The only way we learn is by figuring it out. Okay? And so now if you ask the right question, you presented this vehicle in a format that specifically identifies what pain or concerns they have, how this can resolve and solve that. And in truth, what a real smart person would do is when you're going out to show the customer the vehicle, you want to take your notepad, your little notebook that you would use to take notes for a customer's name or something like that. Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna show you something. Let me grab one real fast. I'm in my studio. Hold on. Okay, here we go. These little composition books. And I keep stacks of them around, and guess what, folks? I'm not out selling at the dealership anymore, okay? But I still carry them around, and, just so, and I still write in them. I still write in them and everything, okay? I got several of them up there. You should have one of those on you regardless, period. But when you're going out with that guest, guess what you do? You hand that to them and say, hey, folks, can you do me a favor? I'm going to point some things out on this vehicle for you. Just jot them down because I want to make sure that I remember them too. So guess what you got them doing now? While you're pointing out the feature, whatnot, turn signal light, benefit extra safety. You mind jotting that down? Now you might say, Brian, what the hell? I'm going to ask them to do it. Yeah, because now you're picking up and you're having them utilize the 3 different methods of learning, or should I say absorbing information. The visual, because for them to write it, they have to see it. The auditory, in order for them to hear it, you have to say it. And the kinesthetic, meaning they're actually physically out there with you, looking at this vehicle, seeing it is more hands-on and direct. So you've got them writing, reading, hearing, and participating. Guess what the odds are of them being able to retain that benefit or that feature is? Goes through the roof. But guess what? Your average salesperson will say, oh man, that's an extra step. And let me explain something to y'all. For nearly a decade, these major dealer groups around the country have invested in me. Over the last decade, the major dealer groups around the country have invested in me to come into their companies, to their multi-million-dollar corporations, and help and train their sales staff to become better, more productive, and more profitable. And guess what? You don't stay in business a decade rocking with these companies, being called back and asked back for as many years and as many times as I have, if you aren't making tremendous headway. I mean, literally out of the over 10,000 students that I have worldwide, because you know, automotive sales is all over the world, worldwide. Do you know that there are over 700 people that are generating over $100,000 a year globally? Countless here in the United States that are making between $50,000 and $80,000 a year. Are they any more intelligent than you? All right, no. Did they come from a silver spoon in their mouth? No. And let me give you another demographic. Okay. Do you know that the average male right now makes $45,200 average nationwide? And that's white, black, Hispanic, doesn't matter. Okay. Now the average female is, from what I understand, what I believe, is about $10,000 lower than that. The average woman is making around $32,000 to $35,000 a year. So guess what that means? Unless you fail to make the decision to step your game up. See, most people don't think about the end game. Meaning, if you work till you're 65, and from 65 and you live to be 85, that's 20 years. That's 20 years that you're out of the workforce. That's 20 years that your ability to earn is gone. Which means that you have to have that nest egg to be able to take care of you and your significant other, take care of your medical bills, take care of your living and your lifestyle, your grandkids if you have any, your children, what have you, what have not. But we live in what's called the microwave culture, which is everybody wants everything today. Or should I say they want it 5 minutes ago. And society has somehow brainwashed people to believe that it can happen and you can get something for nothing, because people look at Instagram and believe that this person on there is just balling out of control. Or they look at this video by this person and say, hey, you can get rich quick overnight. I took $5 and I turned it into $20 million. Check out my Lamborghini that I just rented to take some pictures in to get you to believe that I got the Lambo. And they sound smart only to dumb people. Because any of us that's out here really in the game, that's really, really making them 7 figures, that are really, really helping, educating, training people. Think about you that are on this live right now, this stream. You are a unique, special breed of people. You're special. Here's what I mean. You made the decision to take the time out of your life to tune in to something that can make you better. You did that. While the average person sitting up eating a fucking sandwich, complaining about they not making enough bread and what it is that they can do to change their life. But yet, when it's right in front of their face, they'll pass it by. But at the same time, you made the decision to be here. And the only thing that I can say to that is never let your efforts go to waste. Meaning, don't just go a little bit and stop, because you're never giving yourself a fighting chance. For some reason, for everybody to believe that there's just so much balling out of control, let me explain this to you. Do you know men, right? Only 10%, between 10 and 15%, only between 10 to 15% of men of all races make $100,000 a year or better. And I swear to God on my life, I've been doing that since back when I was 26 years old. Not knocking anybody. That's when I really in my stride, my second year as a dealership. Made $101,303. Okay? So out of all collective men as a whole, let's just say it's 15% of 13. 15%, which means out of 100 men, only 15 are seeing $100,000 or better. Then in the other group, okay, we got that other group that's within that $45,000 range. Now here's my issue. When I hear of a man that knows he's making 35, 40,000, 45, let's even say 50,000. And in his mind, he's allowed himself to say that's good money. And he stops building, and he doesn't see, like, dude, if you made 50,000, Lord knows you ain't been training, you ain't been reading, you haven't done shit to really take yourself to the next level. Imagine what will happen if you give yourself a fighting chance to push you to the next level. For my ladies, for the females, this industry has opened up drastically, tremendously for the ladies, for those that are confident enough and competent enough to get out there and make shit happen. It really is, okay? It really is. You got to grab the world by the you know what. shake that motherfucker up and say, hey, listen, no matter what you think is going to happen, I'm running this show. I'm dictating this ship. And I'm going to do everything I can within my power to make sure that I capitalize and I give myself a fighting chance of succeeding and winning out here. And that's what it requires. If everybody could just sit up and look at YouTube or Instagram and somehow that will make us all wealthy and successful, everybody would do it. But on the contrary to that, sitting up watching everybody on Instagram and stuff like that actually makes you worse, because it's taking time away from you, especially if it's not feeding nothing back. Why would you spend your time watching someone do something or do some buffoonery on Instagram, YouTube, or any of those, time that you will never get back in your life for coonery, buffoonery, and somebody just wilding out, acting stupid? Why? Why would we waste our time doing it? Something that's informational and educational, that's more than 2 or 3 minutes long, people will skip over that like it's the Black Plague. And that's just sad, okay? So back to it. So you've asked all these questions. You've gotten down to the point to where now it's time for you to ask for their business. And guess what? They're a little hesitant. It's like, oh no. When salespeople are still shocked when their customer or when their guest objects, I'm blown back and I say, how in the hell can you be shocked if you've been in this business that your customer objects? They're supposed to object. Not that you did anything wrong. Some people are just, they said in their mind before they left the house, they said, I'm not buying anything today. No matter what they say, no matter what they say, no matter what they say. But they come in and you were professional. You were next level. They weren't prepared for that. And guess what? Now it's time to make a decision. And oh my God, I cannot let the salesperson feel like they won. I cannot. Do you know how often a guest will walk out or try to walk out without buying, knowing you did a phenomenal presentation? You asked all the right questions. You touched on all the right points. You hit their hot button and they wrote out and didn't buy. And you're thinking like, damn, where did I drop the ball? Nowhere. Nowhere. It's just that they conditioned themselves to the point that they would be willing to sacrifice their enjoyment and happiness just so their ego doesn't feel some kind of way that that damn salesperson actually got them to do something, actually got them to take action. That's what bothers them the most, okay? So when we make it and create it as a partnership, because in essence, that's what it is. And why not tell your guests, hey, listen, ma'am or sir, at the end of the day, the only way that I get compensated is, but the only way that I get recognized, give me recognition, is by my ability to help you all make a smart, safe decision on whatever it is that you feel like is important to you. So I'm here to do that. At the end of the day, I am at your service. So which one of our vehicles would you like some information on? Why not be that specific? Why not be that direct? Why not let them know I'm here for you? Why not let them know I am here to help you? Why not let them know I'm committed to you? See, these are all the things that we know inside that we're doing, but we're afraid to say it. But if we said it, it would have so much of an impact on that customer's perception of us. Do you know why? Because nobody else is doing it. So when I see sales reps that are literally saying the same shit as the next person, doing the same shit, if it works, great, don't fix it. But especially, bottom line is, never take sales tips from somebody who is always either at the middle of the pack or at the bottom, or from these people that have super inconsistency. You always want to make sure if you're going to listen to somebody outside of management, outside of an expert trainer coming in to work with you, you want to make sure that you look at their consistency and whatnot. When you're dealing with that, you take what you can gain from it and use it, and you throw away what you can't. But be very cautious on who it is that you actually accept information from, and that who you help, that you get assistance from. But at the end of the day, when you're going from your greeting all the way through, using your layered question, making sure that you're asking them, and that when you ask them and you're actually sitting there with that pen to paper, waiting for their response. And yes, I said pen to paper, because too often when we bring a guest in and sit them down, the sales rep wants to start keying shit into that damn CRM. Remember, the CRM is there, number one, to put their information in so other people know they're working with us. And two, it's supposed to put their information in So as we go through the process, whatever we need to print out is there. But when they initially get there and they're sitting with you, none of that shit matters. None of that is relevant at that time. And if you're sitting there and you're just typing on the computer shit that they can't see, and you're asking them, what's your last name? What's your telephone number? What's your email address? You know what their mind says? You're right. It screams out, credit out, and you're not even doing a credit out, but it gives that perception because you're asking such personal questions. So, yes, will you have their information to put it in the system? Yes. Do we want to make sure that any pertinent information that the dealership would need or that would help their paperwork process, do we want to get that? Yes. But at that time, it is totally irrelevant. So knowing that trust is everything, and they're looking for a reason to disqualify us, why would I bring a guest in I was already apprehensive, sit them down at my desk and have them looking at the back of my computer while I'm asking them personal shit? Doesn't make sense. And most salespeople are finger peckers. So it's not like sales guys are in there. Yeah, so when they just asking questions and don't have to look down at the keyboard, most are like, and your last name is Smith, right? Okay, Smith. That's how most sales guys are. They're not good fucking typers. So while they're sitting there finger pecking the customer's information in, while the customer's looking at the back of a computer screen, in their mind, they're saying, holy shit, are they doing a credit app? In their mind, you're already seeming shady and distrustful because they can't see what you're doing. And in this business, transparency is everything. Because if they fear one iota that you're trying to screw them over, they're out of there. Wouldn't you do the same? Of course you would, if you're honest with yourself. Okay? So you want to get all of that information together. You got your layers. You're asking them the questions. And then when it's time to show it to them, you want to make sure you do a quick recap. Then you want to start. And when you start off at the hood. Remember, you point out what the feature is, what life is like without it, and how having it is beneficial. You go on your demonstration drive. And even on the demo drive, as opposed to asking your typical salesy questions like, is this the type of vehicle you can see yourself owning? Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. It has sales written all over it. A better question that you can ask that will have the same impact, but not come off as salesy as, is this something you can see yourself owning? Let's say it's a husband and wife and they're coming in and they're looking at it. Toyota Camry. And you're sitting in the back, so you might say, hey, listen, hey, Brian, Terry, what is the first date y'all gonna take in your new vehicle? What is the first place y'all gonna treat yourself in your new ride? Or you might say, hey, Terry, I'm gonna ask you first, and then I'm gonna ask Brian, who's the first family member or friend you're gonna show your new ride to? Now, think about those questions. In order for them to answer those questions, they had to take a mental trip in a nanosecond to see themselves visiting their grandma, to see themselves pulling up to Morton's or Ruth Chris Steakhouse. Okay? So in order for them to say, you know what, I'd go show my dad first. Check, check, check. Because in order for you to say dad mentally, you had to visualize yourself going to see dad in your new vehicle. And at the end of the day, to be a successful sales professional, to be a sales pro, it is the ability to be able to create the image in the mind of the customer to make it easier for them to assume ownership, okay? And the better and the clearer that they can have that feeling of ownership, the assumption of ownership. The better it is for that, the better off you will be in your process or in your sequence with your guest. Okay, so doing these things, folks, I apologize that, yeah, if you're looking for a secret sauce like abracadabra and all the deals closed, doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. But one thing I'll tell you does exist is tremendous opportunity for you to be able to just take off at your dealership. Don't let the stress get you down. I know some months are better than others. I know some days are better than others. I know some managers are assholes. I know some team members are snakes. But when you really think about it, it's every day, all bad. And then let's ask yourself another question. What are we really doing to put ourselves in a better position to be better? You know? So one of the things I want you to know, how to dominate at the dealership It's an online automotive sales training program. From what I've been told, it is considered to be one of the best and one of the most effective on the internet. And I'm honored by that, because when I see the text messages, the DMs and whatnot from people who were barely selling 5 cars that sold 20, or my girl that's working at the Mercedes store in Minnesota that sold 40 Mercedes Benzes in May, had never done this before, but all she did was utilize the questions that are within the program and follow the steps. And she crushed it. She made just a little bit over $20,000. This is only her 9th month in the business. And she followed the same exact tracks that I'm laying out for you. Matter of fact, coming at the dealership sells for $697. Sells for that. And at times I'll discount it to $497. As of today, I'm giving it away literally pennies on the dollar. So I encourage you to go check out SPORE, and that's S as in Sam, P as in Paul, O as in Oscar, A as in Adam, R as in Robert.us, SPORE.us. And I'm going to add these things to the video because I'm going live right now, and I didn't do any of that. But SPORE, SPOAR.us, SPOAR.us. Go check out the free training resources I have there. Free. You can go there, register, look at it for free, and you watch what it does to help you and your results in your selling skill go to the next level. So other than that, appreciate you checking in with me, chiming in with me. I was on a little bit longer than what I expected, but hey, what can you do, man? Brian Maxwell here. Look forward to seeing you at the dealership. Over and out.